an independent film producer, apparently.
Let's play the clip. All right, guys, we're gonna see Rollo's acting skills here.
This is from Save-A-Ho.
Here you go.
You ever wonder, like, what if the roles were reversed and you were the one that was in trouble? Do you think anyone would come save you? What do you say we find out? You're gonna save him? You're gonna call for help?
That's a clip from Save-A-Ho.
Go
check it out. Go check it out on Kevin Savo's.
Now you know why he has the name The Godfather.
Yeah.
And yes, that is my Zoot suit.
G Complex 217 20 shout out to the Fresh and Fit fam. Can we get a Rollo and Kevin Savo live stream? I don't know, man. Big Slime.
I'll work it out.
All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging in there. That's the clip from Fresh and Fit the other night. And I have a Fresh and Fit guest that was on the show that came before that one. So thanks for everybody that hung in tonight. We're just getting started rolling up the stream. So I'll give everybody a little bit of time to settle in and everything. Joined by a guest. I told everybody I was going to do a little bit of Red Pill content tonight. We covered the Sly Cooper shit. We did the gaming shit for everybody tonight. Only super chat questions are getting answered. That's just a means of weeding out the trolls. So tonight I'm joined by Torrie Groh, who's, well, she says not to give her labels, but I'm going to give her one. I'm going to see what I wrote down here. YouTube content creator, dating coach. This is for real. We're going to throw up some of her videos, and you could tell that she's very for real in the way that, I guess, and we'll talk about this a little bit, but I guess some of her stuff's been censored, half canceled. She gives no bullshit dating advice to guys. She's one of, I mean, here, take a look for yourself.
It's just a PSA to all the mans out there that are dealing with some ladies and you're frustrated. You need to adopt an abundance mindset. That's why you hear it on my channel. I talk about mental health, spirituality sometimes, but when you get to this level of not giving a fuck if a woman enters your life or not, and I mean that with love, I mean like you are fine with dying alone. If you can get there, then when women shit test you or play games or whatever, it's inevitable, your confidence will literally spew out the right response as if it was automatic. So before dating, work on yourself. Okay, bye. Sorry for yelling.
Abundance mindset, Torrie. Unmute yourself. Or wait, I'll unmute you. Here we go.
Oh, I'm unmuted. Okay, cool.
Torrie Groh, everybody.
Hello.
Super chats are the only questions that are going to be answered tonight, but you feel free to send in your questions. Torrie Groh.
I figured out what to call myself.
What did you want to call yourself?
Okay, you know how Patrice O'Neal says, never take dating advice from a fish, take it from the fisherman? Like on how to catch a fish. I'm the fish. So, hi.
Wasn't the bit about salmon in an office with a bear? Or am I thinking of a different one?
Are you thinking of Elephant in the Room with the one that fish gets back on the boat and flaps?
I think it was the one asking men to be okay with working with women would be like asking a bear to be okay to be working in an office with a salmon covered in honey.
I don't know.
It was something to that effect, but I like the fact that you're quoting Patrice O'Neal off the bat.
If I had $1 for every time I got a comment that said, don't take fish advice from
Don't take advice from the fish.
Yeah, about how to catch a fish. Sorry.
Well, I wanted to have you on here tonight. As you could see, any red pill cats that are in the chat watching, you could tell that this girl's different off the bat. And I like your style, man. I saw you on Fresh and Fit. You were the only, I mean, I'm not to sound sexist right off the bat, but I tend to zone out when some of the girls are talking because, you know, like we talked about,
Same.
It'd be great to see Myron go up against a hardcore radical feminist like Jordan Peterson does. So, I mean, that's just the sort of attention that a cat like Jordan Peterson grabs. I mean, it's the real hardcore intellect, radical feminists that have been preparing for that sort of like verbal jousting, like a verbal fight almost. That these are the ones that see a cat like Jordan Peterson or see a cat that talks about the kind of things Rollo Tomasi talks about and are like, I would love to verbally spar with him because it could be a highlight of my career. And the funny thing is those girls, it's almost like when I say like a verbal jousting match, well, in that same respect, they want to be like a verbal Rocky. Like they know they can't take out a cat like Jordan Peterson. They know they can't take out a cat like Rollo Tomasi in terms of getting the better of them in a debate, but they just want to go the distance. If I could just hold my own in that conversation and throw them for a loop now and then, that's kind of their thing. So I'd love to see like a radical feminist go up against Myron. Of course, a lot of the times it's just, you know, I don't know where they get the girls, but they're not quite prepared for that sort of debate. And matter of fact, a lot of the time they seem to only really perk up when they hear that one thing that was slightly insulting, slightly lean sounding.
Well, they take it out of context. That's how debates work. They try to trick you and have you stumble over what you thought you said.
Right. So we got the clip of you there already talking about abundance mindset. Actually kind of got hardcore there for a minute. You're like, you need to be not afraid to die alone when you learn to really not give a fuck. So I mean, we're going to get into a little bit of everything tonight, but one of the things that made me interested in talking to you was when I heard you on Fresh and Fit, I was thinking to myself, when this girl explains or answers the question, she doesn't sugarcoat what female nature really is or how women like really respond to things, which is important to understand. I mean, a lot of times we just use the term female nature and they want to come for our throat already just for that's not for a man to speak on. But it's an important thing for a man to understand how women think. And when I saw you, I was thinking to myself, you seem to me like you could be that older sister figure that like, if you had a younger brother, or you had a younger cousin that was like, you have a younger brother?
I do. 1 year younger.
Yeah. See, a lot of times, like when we're growing up, guys, I mean, young men, we're growing up and sometimes, you know, we ask an older sister, a homegirl, sometimes when we're younger, our mom, like, how do I impress this girl or how do I really work her over? And the funny thing is, I actually said this to my mom recently, now that I'm grown, I'm like, Mom, why didn't you tell me women are full of shit? I'm like, why didn't you tell me because
she doesn't know probably. There's
right. I said, why didn't you tell me, just if nothing else, I don't need to take it there and say women are full of shit, but I mean, I'm being humorous, but the thing is, I said, why didn't you explain to me how differently we think and explain to me things like the fact that women really enjoy the chase factor, that they need excitement and novelty more than, you know, just be really nice. And our older sisters, our homegirls, our female cousins, our moms always give us that same set us up for failure, set us up to be the nice guy advice. Just be really super sweet, be super nice, really be yourself.
That's what they want.
You know what the funny thing about that advice? That's a funny bit of advice. Be yourself when you're young, because you haven't really invented yourself yet. Just be yourself. Well, at that point in time, being yourself is being an awkward cat that doesn't understand how the world works, doesn't understand social dynamics, and doesn't know a thing about women. So that's kind of a long intro, but but when I saw you on Fresh and Fit, I was thinking to myself, she would be like that cool older sister that would really tell you, like, listen, this is really how it goes. This is really what this girl might expect or what she want or what might really intrigue her.
I feel like, though, I already sound like a woman. Shit. I feel. That's fine. I think it takes a level of insight, honestly. And I've had to. It's so weird when I can't hear myself. I told you I'm kind of a narcissist. Hello, everybody. And so
poke one ear out.
This is why we need men. And people call me a misandrist for that. That's a word. And I'm like, why? I don't get that. And I guess there's things men do well that women can't figure out, and they're easy things for men. So when I say things like that, like, oh, this is why we need men, people take it as you couldn't come up with something that men are better for, like they created the world. I was like, listen, I'm on your side. Like, hold up. I just meant I can't even figure out this fucking audio shit, you know? And I've been doing this for how long? Okay, I just went on a tangent. So
yeah, go for it. That's what we're here for.
I just figured out how to get into comments. Hello, everybody. That woman's gag reflex is absent as her father.
You could look at him if you want. I told him I'm only answering super chat questions. That helps weed out the trolls a little bit. Our black sheep always take his shit. Oh, she's probably got the time messed up. And that was from earlier when I had everybody waiting for like an hour and a half.
Oh my goodness. If every woman, if you go on a date with her, she's going to be an hour late. And guys get mad about that. But you should also not be investing a lot of time and energy into a first encounter. If you're taking her out on a dinner date, you're setting yourself up for failure. And people argue with me and say, yeah, but women will laugh at you if you try to just go get coffee or just go for drinks. And I'm like, the girls that would give you shit are gold diggers. Thank you. That's all. Like, that is literally it.
Well, more than just the expense of a dinner date, I've had this conversation to no end. I don't personally, I don't know how you feel about this, even as an adult, as it might seem like the more mature thing to do, I would never recommend a dinner date for a first date.
No.
Because don't you
That's-
feel like it automatically diminishes comfort because you sit a stranger right across from you. So you've already made this feel sort of like a job interview because you're going to sit down face to face, awkwardly restricted, and you're going to ask each other questions. How did that not automatically just become this exchange that's really uncomfortably similar to a job interview? And then also, what is fun about going to eat food with somebody?
Absolutely nothing.
Now that might sound like immature, like, well, when you get older, you understand. No, fuck that. What is thrilling or exciting about eating food with somebody? I always say dinner dates are for after you've already been fucking for 4 months and you're both hungry. Because what's likely to happen is after you've been fucking for 4 months and you just both happen to be hungry, you go and eat and say nothing, but you can enjoy the comfortable silence because everything isn't so new and fresh. It's not a first date.
That's so true. And with the whole thing and who's paying, who's not, then what you have to order. Like, I like salads. I love salads, actually. And I feel as though every time I order a salad with a dude, they're automatically thinking that I'm some prissy bitch. So I just avoid them. I tell guys to avoid them, especially if you're trying to get laid. You're better off. Nobody wants to fuck when they feel full as fuck, you know? I'm just saying. So drinks or going during lunch hour to get coffee. Because I feel like, ew. I'm not going to apologize for how I speak, but I'm trying to get better for my own self, and that one bothers me. I've been noticing it a lot lately. Also,
what are you saying? That men say I think and women say I feel?
Just anytime anybody says I feel like.
You could say it seems to be. Instead of I think, I feel like it just seems like.
All right. Anybody in the comments want to cap me when I say like, and that time it didn't count. Okay. Even though that's not what that is used for.
No, you're fine. Dinner dates is a really traditional thing. I feel like it was a more done thing in the past. You also got to remember, I mean, our social skills as a society, I mean, especially for young people's social skills have dropped like that.
This is where I think I was like, did I just do it? Fuck, I'm doing it again.
Nah,
I have social anxiety and I'm a bartender too. So I had to develop those skills in adulthood. And I find that owning the awkwardness works for everybody. If you stutter on words, own it. Like I just did right now. You can't do anything if I took accountability for it. And it makes people more comfortable around you. If I'm shaking and it just goes everywhere, I just like stare at one person and I'm like, that's weird. That was awkward. And they laugh. They're like, that's awkward that you're pointing that out. Like, I don't know.
I think I got over social anxiety when I realized like 80 to 90% of the people you're going to come across and you're going to worry about how they perceive you, 80 to 90% of them are losers.
That's why I don't ask what people do for a living too. Remember when you were like, I know you have to do it as an intro. It makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. But I have always said, whoever comes to the bar, I will never ask what they do for a living, ever. Because I don't give a fuck, first of all. I really don't. And second of all, the opportunistic side of me, actually, I should say, could use you if you tell me what you do for a living. So let's get to know each other like we're on the same level. And also with men, I find that they like to show dominance, like to men, when you're talking about work. So instead, I tell a joke, get their name. If they have a similar name to somebody, I shout at somebody across the bar like, hey, you guys should be friends. And so far, it's been working out. But yeah, no, I never ask what they do for a living. I don't know how we got on that.
No, it's fine.
Social anxiety. Sorry.
So do you want to be a dating coach?
No.
You don't want to be, but you know you could drop some gems at least.
Well, I do because I've been behind the bar for way too long, you know, and I've seen more Tinder dates than Tinder, the app, you know, if you think about it. But I've also seen awful rejections. Women have absolutely no idea the level of rejection and embarrassment that guys go through until they're a bartender. Like female bartenders understand it. Just I'm going back to school for psychology, typical female, but I'm only doing it so I can have access to better research materials, honestly. I'm not really doing it for a degree. But I like the idea of helping men focus on themselves. Even if it was women, sure. But I get attacked a lot when I am preaching to women. So far, I haven't had any woman tell me I'm a misogynist. I've had men that are in the red pill rage stage, and I understand that. Mm-hmm.
You're talking about in person, or are you talking about when you make
online?
Do you feel like I talk about this with people often? Do you feel like, in a way, the media? I mean, when you talk about, like, take the bar scene for example, because you're a bartender. So I mean, and I perform in bars often. I just do a lot of my shoots at bars, and so I mean, I'm out in the public eye a lot, and I feel like, see, I did it, or I think, or it seems to be as if the media has really highlighted this small group of people, the radical nut jobs, the radical feminists, the social justice warriors, the people who want the entire world to be on this level playing field that isn't realistic and defies logic, also defies psychology. And the media has highlighted them in such a way to make everyone think that radical feminism is the norm, social justice warrior ideology is the norm.
Yeah.
But I think, like, do you ever notice, like, when you're in the bars, when you're out in public, how often are these conversations really coming up? I mean, do you, you live in a different place than me. You may be in a different scene than me.
Yeah.
Do you often come across women that are preaching radical feminist shit? In person, not online.
Yeah, no, I have. I wouldn't say that actually, but I would say a lot of women who are snobby, entitled, but they look like a one. Things like that. I know that just kind of made your beautifully well said question into, well, I got fat chicks claiming that they're hot shit. So, and they,
no, I mean, you do see it though, obviously.
Yeah, but it's a problem. And when politics come up, they're usually intoxicated and they misread what a guy said because they don't know how to communicate. Women don't know how to communicate with men in general, let alone anymore. But so the woman, it's almost like they use their privilege to get the guy kicked out. I'm like, he didn't do anything. I've been listening this whole time because I have nothing to do, you know? So I don't know. But I've worked in Vegas. I've worked in Houston. I guest bartend. I travel. And it's the same everywhere. There's a disconnect. And I think it's happened over probably the last few years. Just remember when everybody would talk about politics on Facebook and they would argue, but you could move past it. Now everybody feels as though they should level in on something. Or back then you could see somebody's comment, be like, okay, that's a valid point. You Googled the article they picked and it was a good one. Now I could get on TikTok and say, Donald Trump, I'm just picking somebody. Donald Trump was fucking a penguin. I have to make it really bizarre for the sake of people and their confirmation bias in the comments. And people would believe it. And they would turn into this mob mentality and comment agreeing with me, even though I'm lying. Remember, I go into this TikTok knowing I'm lying. Like, that's the whole premise. And they would agree with me. And then everybody would like that comment. And everybody would join in on this mob mentality. It's like nobody even fact checks it anymore. That took a really long time to get to fact checking. So sorry.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Well, it just kind of seems like I'm going to be with Donovan Sharp, another red pill celebrity. I'm going to be with him on Saturday. And he has a book called, it's something to the effect of Understanding Womanese, which is kind of like a gimmicky title that plays on the idea that women have a different language than men. I mean, that we both communicate in different ways.
Entirely.
Right. And so I think on the cover of the book, it says what she means, but what she says or what she means to say, what she says and what it really means beneath the surface.
Okay.
And what's funny is, and I'm going to talk to him about this, is just being, we're roughly the same age. So just in our lifetime, do you remember back in the day when we were kids, just in our lifetime, when we were kids, it wasn't out of place at all to pick up a book about better understanding female nature. Like, how does she think? Learn to think how a woman thinks, so you're better prepared to deal with women. To see someone give a seminar explaining the same thing. Magazines were full of this kind of stuff, but only 20 years or so later, here we are. And if you have that kind of material, it's seen as misogyny.
I think, and this could be, I'm not saying this from a victim standpoint at all, because at the end of the day, I pick the demographic to target, right? If we look at it like business. And the people that listen to my stuff are guys unplugging. We'll just use it to generalize it, but it could be anybody that identifies with this ideology. And train of thought, bye. Okay. But a guy can give dating advice and he's seen as wholesome, whatever. I missed a major point. So I get attacked by these guys in the comments because they're angry that a woman's giving the information. Totally understandable. But then you see these male dating coaches giving women advice on male behavior and they love him, and it's just interesting to see why there's this. I'm not calling it sexism because I get it. It's very ambiguous. Like, do people even notice that male dating coaches are the highest paid in just the dating realm?
Because they're the most needed.
Well, I'm saying okay, age gap, that's not what I meant. I didn't mean that women get paid less. Let me rephrase.
No, not that they get paid less, but to play to your point, you said they make the most money because there's the most need for it, because men are troubled and they need someone to listen to, or they need advice to follow.
Well, so when I say male dating coaches, they're guiding women on how to date.
Oh, the ones that are guiding women.
Yeah,
you're saying
sorry.
Women pay for them?
I
they do.
Yeah.
Or like the women that actually seek out advice from Kevin Samuels before he rips into them.
Come on. If anybody is going into a conversation with Kevin, you better be prepared on how to debate. Because right now you're making us look bad.
But not only that, they call in for a reason.
Right.
A lot of them, but a lot of it doesn't start as a debate. A lot of it starts as a sincere question where I just imagine these women are like, this guy's pretty collected. He is, by the book, by appearance, by level of success, high value. So, and you notice a lot of them, they call up real timid and real respectful. It's only after it hits a certain tipping point that it becomes a debate or it becomes him laying into them.
Feel it.
But that was just playing to your point that when you say that women seek out advice from men too, or male dating coaches, that's sort of what it reminds me of, or like a Steve Harvey kind of thing. That's more for his show, but there's women that run things past him.
Like old tradition stuff. I hate using labels. I know we're not going to, but just for the sake of
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying it was a rule that I don't use them. I just we
didn't want to.
I'm not hardcore with it.
And I'm not well versed. I'm still learning. It had to be 2 months ago that I asked on my TikTok, does anybody know anybody in MGTOW? Because I have questions. I'm still learning about it. I've only read 2. I started the 3rd one of Rollo's books. Hi, Rollo. He's like, did you
you've read through his whole books?
Yeah. I still go
where
back.
Where did this interest come from?
Probably a deep want of I'm not good at speech. Just wanting to learn more about my behaviors, why I function the way that I do, why I fucked up the way that I did, why I respond the way that I do. And I've been seeing a psychiatrist for years. I'm open about that. I'm also a supporter for NAMI. And if there's one thing that I've taken away from relationships, it's that when they're telling me things that are bad, it's usually there's a lack of connection, but the communication is there. So for me, it's I see it as, okay, so what is that? So that just made me dig into this hole of trying to learn about my own self. And when you said the thing about your next guest with that book, I'm
Mhm.
thinking to myself, there should be, and who the fuck am I? I shouldn't even say that.
I think
but
I know what you're gonna say, but go ahead.
there should be what women do, what women think they want to do, and what women actually respond to when they're triggered. Like, there's just so many dynamics that I could tell you right now, I want a nice man or whatever.
Right.
People ask me all the time, what do you look for in a man? Or like, who's your partner? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I have dated great men, and I can honestly say that they all were very different. All of them. They're just different from each other. Like different industries they work, different levels of what do you call it? Emotional intelligence, which gets misconstrued all the fucking time. I should
Right.
stop swearing too.
No. Go ahead. You're fine. It's a free form.
But I glance at the comments and then, oh, here we go. Like,
No. Don't glance at the comments.
it's okay.
I'll pick them out if they're decent. I got a lot of whack motherfuckers in here. They're just waiting for their whack motherfucker moment to shine. I wanted to plan something about the about being in therapy. What do you think about women? I feel like it's hard to find a good therapist, hard to find a good psychologist, and I've dealt with women who told me about their therapy sessions, and sometimes I think to myself,
no, get a guy.
I swear it's not the greatest idea in the world to be taking advice from, or even if they're a professional, because that's what people will hit me over the head with. They'll say, well, this is a professional. You know, it's not just women giving bullshit advice to women. But I feel like women get horrible advice from other women. And
yes.
I'll give you the psychology example that I heard, and I'll just give you let's say the TikTok example. Let's say the social media example.
Yeah.
I would say whether you're a man or a woman, I'd say one thing that's universal is confidence comes from action. That you really need to accomplish something to prove to your own psyche that you're worthy and able to accomplish great things. And see, men, we learn that because early on in life, you know, especially if we've got parents that are hard asses, they tell us, look, you ain't going to be shit and nobody in the world is going to give a fuck or come to save you.
Yeah.
You know, everything that being a man is all about, but everything that being a person is all about, male or female, is you have to have self-esteem, and self-esteem has to come from somewhere. It mostly comes from action. It mostly comes from a demonstration between you and you, where you've demonstrated to yourself that once you've accomplished one thing, if you've accomplished one great challenging task, now your own brain recognizes that you're capable of that.
Yeah.
Maybe before that you didn't think you were even capable of. And what I don't like is when I see women give bullshit advice to other women. That bullshit advice usually is something to the effect of, if you want to feel more confident, just try to meditate on confidence. Try to wake up, look yourself in the mirror, and just feel better. Tell yourself that you're that bad bitch that you know you are. Like, you know, buy that
Lie
fucking
to yourself. Like, no.
Right, which is just, I just don't think that's good for a human's development, period. Male or woman.
Imposter syndrome.
Man or woman,
Yeah.
to get that shit end of the stick advice of just don't actually go out and change anything. Just try to think change. Just try to feel more beautiful, more sexy. And then the sad thing about that is then without action, validation is the only confidence or self-esteem you could develop.
Yeah.
When you only use men for validation, you know, you start to lose options. You lose a boyfriend, you get broken up with. And now your whole self-confidence is gone, which is pretty fucked.
And they usually don't correlate that. Women, I don't think, understand validation, social media to its core, and really even thirst traps. Like, that's a clear indication, right? We know what a thirst trap is. When you break up with your boyfriend, you post a sexy photo because you need validation, right? I don't think women can see that when their boyfriends aren't giving them attention and they start to post sexier pictures. I don't even think they know at a very conscious level that they need that for their self-esteem. I don't think they know what self-esteem is. I feel as though, see,
That works.
making sure I didn't say that, the L word. I feel as though I developed self-esteem a little bit later in life. And that was from doing stuff like this. So when I hear about confidence, yeah, don't fucking fake it. I don't know what my point was. we were leading to something. I totally lost my train of thought.
The idea of actually accomplishing
Yeah.
great tasks, accomplishing something that's really worthy to you in order
Yeah.
to develop your self-esteem
Oh, I got it.
versus
Okay.
Go ahead,
So
go ahead.
women, that's the thing with what do we call it? Gynocentric world.
the gynocentric social order.
Yeah. Love Rolo. He's literally
I have to talk to him about that term. I don't fully understand it, but I've been asking him about it.
Is like, he just speaks so well. Like, I learned so much in 24 hours from this man.
I think what the red pill community would love is a fine looking girl saying they read Rollo Tomasi's books and gained
They
something
recommended
from it.
it.
But not only that, it make feminists fucking throw up in their mouth.
I have a video I'm gonna upload to YouTube tonight where we were talking about all this stuff. I was just like happy to be there. Like, I was like, this is so cool, because literally 2 months ago, I have people that about that MGTOW video. They're like, you have to read Rollo Tomasi's books, and I would call him Tolo Ramasi all the time. I mess it up all the time.
You got a pet name for him.
Yeah, and then I'm just like, oh, what's his name? He's named after the candy. But when you think about it, all of his empirical data in his books and stuff, it's all the basis of all this stuff. So whether somebody's misconstruing something, it always comes down to his work. And it's just so fascinating. I don't know. I was going to say, though, that women don't know how to execute tasks. And this is going to be generalized, as well as men do. So women lack self-esteem. I think there was a study done that women, the 5-factor model: openness to experience, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. The neuroticism one means that if you were high on the spectrum, you feel a lot of negative emotions. And so women would typically be high on neuroticism, right? So, I mean, I could see that. We were put in mental institutions for hysteria, whereas men were more logical based. And so I think what I've learned with this coaching, if you must, is that men take advice and execute it and give me feedback, and they have been improving. With women, you give them advice and there's no execution, but they expect everything. So I'm being kind of vague. I know I'm going on a tangent.
No, that's fine. My mother is an enormous, like, ridiculous consumer of self-help books. She's never put us, not to diss my mother, but my mother is one of those people who has never put a single thing she's read into practice.
Okay.
But she has collected like 40 self-help books that she swears by and recommends to us.
Yeah.
This was one of the points I was going to make about why I feel like it's healthy for women to get advice from a man. Like you said, you've learned a lot from Rollo Tomasi's book versus a woman only taking advice for a woman. Not much less a woman who don't know what the fuck she's talking about. But even sometimes female therapists, which I have another good example of that, just don't give the best advice. I understand that they're professionals, but there's a way they go about it that I just really don't think serves a woman for her own good. And it's not to beat anybody over the head with red pill, stupid shit, misogynist shit, as they call us, any of that. It's just a real insight of your nature versus a man's nature, so that you know how to work together and you know what to expect from each other. Now, my mom is this big consumer of self-help books. My mom, I made her feel so bad and I didn't mean to, but she said, Patricia. Trish. Nah, it's so funny. Some women called Patricia, they get called Trish, and my mother was always Patty. But my mom bought us there's 3 brothers, 3 Savos, we're like the Bee Gees, and my mother bought all 3 of us this self-help book because she really felt that it helped her. And she gives it to me. I didn't mean to make her feel bad, but the book was called like, oh my God. It was something like very similar to like when women say like, you're that bitch, like you're a bad bitch. It was something like
act like a lady, think like a man.
It was something like, no, you're a badass, or how to know you're a badass.
Like, God damn it.
And it was like a female self-help book. And I'm like, Ma, I love you to death. This is not for me. And she felt so bad. And I'm like, Ma, I don't mean to make you feel bad, but if you're going to give me this, then I'm going to get you like Alpha Male Strategies and Rollo Tomasi's book for Christmas. I'm going to tell you to read that. You know what I mean? But
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, but also one of the women in my life, she told me I started going to therapy. It helped a lot after my last breakup.
Female or male therapist?
Female therapist.
Okay.
She tells me after I went through a really difficult breakup. She went through a really difficult breakup, and she talked to me a lot about it, and she talked to her therapist about it. Her female therapist, who is our age also, tells her, listen, when you realize that you're really that bitch, you'll get over the breakup.
That's the problem, though. That's the problem with the women in accountability. Women think that...
But also, what kind of professional says that? We don't like dissect everything that went wrong, how to move past it, how not to hold on to resentment. You just tell a young woman, you're really that bitch. And when you realize you're really a badass bitch, you'll get over the hurt of that breakup and you'll be on to a more success.
How do you know that that person wasn't lying that they said that?
You don't really know unless you kind of go through, you know, the accountability of both people.
Yeah, but sometimes women have a tendency to exaggerate and have things fit their ideal, what they want to hear. How do I put that? When they story tell or just tell you about their day, you know, it's almost as if it fits their narrative that they're telling themselves. I think it's very delusional. But nobody holds them accountable because nobody was there to witness like the actual conversation, I guess, if that makes sense. Or the therapist, you know, some of them say it's a bad fit, it's a good fit. So maybe your friend or whoever, the girl, vibed well talking like that with them. I need somebody to tell me why I did a certain, like, where did a behavior develop and why? And when they, like, I'm reading these chats right now and it's just so funny. I'll be vague, but they're talking about my father, and me and him have the best relationship. My parents are still married.
My apologies for the comment section.
That's okay. Men, honestly, I think this is their outlet because they're silenced. There's a war going on against men. If they want to do that, I understand it. It's okay. But it's just so interesting because usually when a woman has daddy issues, she has mommy issues, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, I'm going on a tangent again. No,
you're fine. I guess we'll take it. No, those were the two things. Just what my mom wanted me to read a book. I'd be like, you're that bad bitch, just trying to give it to three young men. And then, you know, that girl that I was involved with, that, you know, it made her feel really good. And like, God bless, it made her feel good. But she paid $100 out of pocket for that when she could have just hung out with one of her female friends who would have told her the same shit.
Which is a problem.
Right. I mean, look, you dove deep into this kind of information. You dove deep into Rollo Tomasi's books, clearly because you were looking for some objective reasoning that you probably hadn't gotten before. And now that you've seen things through that lens, it's probably a lot harder to take those like validation pick me up serious, right? Like if we're friends, you're feeling down and out. I mean, you know, you're beautiful. You know, you have a nice body. If I were to say like, listen, you know, you're a bad bitch. Look at you. You're beautiful. If you were really like struggling with something, that's like, great. It's flattering, whatever the fuck. I mean, but like there's something deeper beneath this. Of course.
I hate it. People mean well, like people are mostly good. I just, you know, that's why I advocate for mental health, because we don't know how to tell people that the reality they have in that moment is uncomfortable and it sucks. Nobody wants to be, you know, when someone dies, time will heal. Like it's uncomfortable. You don't know what to say. But when people acknowledge the fact that what they're feeling sucks ass, honestly, just that vague. And they're like, you know, you fucked up in the relationship. You were the lesser partner, speaking about a woman, since we usually like to blame the guy for the breakups. I still find myself doing that sometimes, but I'm very cognizant of it. But if we're just brutally honest with all of the conversations with our boyfriends and not just highlighting the good stuff or the bad stuff, then you could get a really honest commentary going with your friends. I don't know. Women, when people say, what are women good for? We know based on evolutionary, I almost said biology, psychology. Sorry, I mixed them up. Sorry, not sorry. Women form tribes. They know how to communicate better. We pick up on, even Rollo Tomasi talks about it, the little things. When somebody gives you the weird glare at the club, like, fuck that bitch. Men don't notice that. So when it comes to death, when a man experiences loss, it's like, who shows up? Women typically are the ones bringing the food. And I know it can go both ways. But
the comfort, being motherly.
Yeah. So when, I have guys that are divorced that have deaths that happen, and all the people that like them as when he was married, all of those people that they were friends with, they weren't really there. So that's one thing that women can bring for long term, but is it worth it? I don't know. That's up to you.
I'm gonna get to the super chat in 1 second, but this is a personal friend of mine that raises a good point. Women in relationships never hold themselves accountable for any of their misconduct or their part in deterioration of the relationship. They always blame the man, and that's a real harmful thing to do, because if you as a man or a woman can acknowledge where you were wrong or where you fucked up or where you got too caught up in your feelings, it really benefits you in the future. This is something I also think women encourage other women to encourage other women to think like this, to think that, like, well, he wasn't shit.
It's funny because I have podcasts where I was in that stage. When people go through breakups or they've been mistreated or they lost trust with somebody, it's so easy to be like, they're good for nothing. That was what I would say. Like, what are men good for? Even earlier, I'm like, see, this is what men are good for. It's okay to be in that stage and stuff, both genders, whatever. And that's fine and dandy. But I'm like losing my train of thought again. Men also don't hold women accountable on the daily. They're not good at communicating, but they also don't want to cause conflict. They don't want, like, they have absolutely, Rollo said it on the podcast, the men have no incentive to be honest with women. And that's the problem, though, is I don't think women are going to hold themselves accountable ever until men speak up. And that's what's really important about the community, is they, at least I'm going to go in a hole if I try to identify everybody that kind of shares similar beliefs. So I'm just going to not do that. But moving on. Ryan, I agree. Like, yes, we do need to hold people accountable. But that starts with men being honest, like brutally honest.
Well, everybody has to hold themselves accountable. I mean, you were asking me what unplugged me or what quote unquote made me red pill. And it was the two or my first and only two like real serious heartbreaks when I was younger, but it caused me to take accountability as much as I was pissed with both of those women. Because if I didn't
have a problem with that though.
If you don't take, but that's what the thing, like both genders.
Some do. Some don't actually, but most do.
Yeah, man or woman, if you don't look at how you played a part in fucking up a relationship, sometimes that part you played in fucking up the relationship is how you found that person and the person you chose.
Cheating and stuff.
No, but sometimes, I mean, and this is something that's, I mean, it's a fault of both men and women, but I think women, they don't check themselves on this often enough, is sometimes a relationship went horribly wrong because you went and found someone who wasn't shit. And then you never feel bad about your lack of judgment. You never feel bad about, like, you wanted excitement. You wanted to be thrilled. So you kind of get what you get when it turns out he wasn't shit as a partner.
When you say wasn't shit, Do you mean like a bum? Like, he'd be more descriptive?
Could be any number of those things. He's a bum. He's a simp. He's a loser. He just, even if something as simple as he wasn't the right fit for you, because when women seek novelty and when they seek excitement over stability, then you get what you get. I even got a male version of that. The male version of that is you find the hottest, most promiscuous, sexiest chick, and then fuck everything else. Don't look at any of her other traits. Well, when you have problems later down the road, remember, you wanted the baddest, most promiscuous chick that you could find.
They're
So,
usually,
I mean,
I
it's
don't
just as silly when a man turns around and goes like, it turns out she wasn't wife material. Like, no, it turns out she, what the fuck did you think this
know,
was?
Madonna
And-
complex.
Right. And then when a chick finds a fucking loser who was just knew how to get her riled up, knew how to make her chase, and knew how to, trigger that part of your brain that seeks excitement. Well, don't be surprised. It turns out he wasn't husband material, clearly.
Yeah. I think something we should adopt too, both sexes. And it's so hard to even speak on fucking genders nowadays. There's 64, according to Google. Or 62, I'm sorry. Yeah, whatever. That turned political, sorry. Is that, how do I word this? Men, actually, I almost don't want to say it yet. I'm going to hold off.
Okay, well then, that's cool. Here, we'll go to, hey, and by the way, don't apologize for anything you're saying. I feel like a woman can get away with saying it.
Because we're entitled.
Yes, be entitled in that respect. Here's our super chat. This is my buddy. Why do women often expect men to get what they are thinking? Why is that part of communication missing? I've seen this happen countless times when attempting to ask out a girl. It's not fun at all. So what he's asking about
Can you
is,
keep that up there while you're talking?
yeah, well, but what he's asking about is when a woman expects a man to have paid enough attention to know what she's thinking is a little bit of a exaggeration, but when a woman kind of expects you, when a woman's pissed and you ask what's wrong, what's the classic thing? Oh, I'm fine. Or why does she say, oh, I'm fine? Because she expects you to have paid enough attention to already know what was bothering her. Now, I'll give you this. I'll ask for your take on this, but I'll give women the benefit on this, and this is how you know I'm not a fucking misogynist. I
really don't care.
I
Even
understand.
if you were.
Oh, I'm just saying to the world and the people that are going to cancel me. I trust you in this setting.
Okay.
But I mean, to a woman's benefit, I kind of understand that she just all it means, why can't you read my mind? She don't want you to read her mind, but she wants you to have paid enough attention to know that something may be bothering her. On the other hand, when you're too hardcore about it, why do women often expect men to get what they're thinking? And then communication is seen as if the man asks what's wrong, it's, well, fuck you, because it shows you weren't paying attention.
It's just so interesting with that question, because in every relationship, even the one that I am kind of in right now, it's getting serious.
Okay.
He said the other day, he goes, I get this from every guy. You're so different in the way that you communicate because you're so direct, and I don't feel like I have to guess. I get lost when they say things like that because I'm like, well, how are other women like in relationships? Because I know myself, but I don't get to sit in a room with a couple and just be chilling, when they're going through shit. But my thing is, hopefully with content that I put out, women can feel more comfortable being direct. Like I say to them, I had a really shit morning, so I'll give you a call at 2:00 just because I don't want any of my emotions to seep in on your work day, stuff like that. And I could never be in a room with a significant other waiting for them to ask me what's wrong. Like, why am I going to play a martyr? That I would be suspicious of the girls that you're talking to. Maybe they are. No, because I feel like this is, I get it from a lot of
It's a really common thing, though. That's why a lot of guys have said this to you.
Yeah. But sometimes guys like to, it's kind of like when girls are like, I've never done this before, but really they're a hoe. Like, I don't know if that's just one of their sayings, if they're trying to make you feel better. I don't know.
I've never slept with a guy this fast.
It's like she's
This is
fucking
so
good.
This is so crazy. Only you.
Yeah, no, but they're messing it up for the people that actually have never had one night stands. Thank you. Anyways, so when you're vetting women, I guess, as if you're mans, that's what I call my audience, my mans. You gotta see if she's. I feel like everybody likes to lie in the beginning of a relationship, but
They're
there's
testing
also,
the waters.
right, but you should just throw out all your fucking baggage, like right at the. And guys will be like, but then I won't get laid. And I'm like, again, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Level up and be comfortable dying alone and fall in love with who you are, because you're the prize if you think about it, you know? But see, it's hard to cater to both. You know, I got my mans that are angry at me right now, and then you can't.
Are you
please
comfortable
them.
with dying alone?
Yes. I think it's actually selfish to get married and just hopefully they die first. But, you know, it's somebody has to go through the grief of losing me. That sounds very grandiose, but you know,
Right.
it's like, yes, I'm comfortable dying alone, even if I didn't have kids. That's okay. Kind of sucks. I don't get to pass down these wonderful genes, but
I can almost lean a little bit MGTOW at times in the way my personality is, or at least I know
Yeah.
it could be labeled that way. And just like women will say, like, you know, who hurt you in terms of like if you're unplugged, women think I'm like severely emotionally damaged for the simple reason that maybe
you
one or two,
disagree.
well, no, maybe just, I mean, whether I disagree or not, but also women will say I'm like severely emotionally damaged for one thing. No matter how hot she is, no matter how in love we are, one or two red flags, if I even let it get to the second red flag, and I'm out.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is when we talk about communication, I've been trying to communicate the same shit to my parents for 20 years. I've been trying to communicate
Maybe
the
it's
same
you.
shit. You know what I mean? But like, how often, level with me on this, how many times have you tried to communicate the same point to the same people, relatives, friends, you name it, and you just, maybe you're too close to them, you just never get there. Sometimes it's just things are gonna work the way you want them to, or they're not. And if that's the case, you got to be out, in my mind.
I guess there's like a lot of facets. It's a social science, you know? There's so many facets that go into it. Sorry. Before I answer your question, she didn't quite understand the super chat. Women just want me to get it, to be leaders who can see from the mountaintop. I get it. I do get it, actually. It is a problem. Who said it? Was it Rollo Tomasi that said you put a female brain over a male's brain and there's just, they complete each other? Women have a lot more not nerve endings. What am I thinking of? Like a lot more different wiring going on. So women want you to get it because I hate to give us this level of, this could be seen as entitled, but women are picking up on cues that you guys don't pick up on. So they expect you to get it just like they expect their girlfriends to get it. You know, it's something that women just don't understand men. I think a lot of men too they should be cognizant of certain things they do, because a lot of times they can put out behaviors that could almost seem as a manipulation tactic. And, you know, narcissistic is getting thrown out all the time, especially towards men. So a lot of times women are trying to decipher, is this guy being a dick or is this guy trying to abuse me psychologically, you know? Right. But back to your point, sorry, did that help? This one is definitely post-wall. Oh God, what does that mean?
I was trying to figure that out myself. I wouldn't dip too much in the comments. I'm only supposed to be reading super chats, or I'm trying to. That's how I weed out the bullshit. I can only block so many people. Yeah. But would you say reading Rollo Tomasi's material has helped you in your relationship, or to help you to be more conscious of certain things?
I think it was stuff that the thing is with the stuff with Rollo is I was preaching a lot of stuff that I have taken down. I should put it back up though, because YOLO for Rollo. That people were saying you need to read his books because you can better talk about these ideas because somebody has put a name or a word to certain ideas. And I was like, oh no shit. So it was more so, and it's gonna again sound grandiose, what's new, but like a validation. When I read it, I was like, okay, so I'm not fucking nuts. I understand that I was doing one thing and not the other. Why did I do this? But also, at least over the past 2 years, like we were talking about, my emotional reactivity went so low that I don't
This
react.
this is after reading the book. Your emotional reactivity started dropping.
This is before and after. Like I read the books and said, okay, I remember that period that was 4 years ago where I was emotionally driven by stuff. Why am I not like that anymore? And when was the last time I was sad? Just like these are like random thoughts that I'm having that I would question just about myself. But Rollo stuff just helped me validate the fact that, I don't know. I mean, it was just really fucking great. Sorry, Rollo. Can't come up with a better compliment. I have
No, it's fine. But you think, you were telling me a little bit about your relationship. You think it for
sure. I wrote a book on communication, just having trouble with it. Isn't that funny? Like writing a book on communication.
No, that's excellent.
Have trouble like communicating right now.
You want to communicate in the best way possible. It's in hard print.
But yeah, for sure it's helped. I just never, I date guys that are busy a lot of the time too. I know this is kind of random, but I don't find the need to be close with anybody all the time. I don't have friends let me try that again. I don't hang out with friends in my free time. That sounds so fucked up.
Nah,
that I verbalize that on camera, but I'm just not. Like I said, I had social anxiety for a while, so I don't know if that's just, you would think that would make my communication horrible. I feel like I'm just contradicting myself and losing train of thought.
No, you're fine. I told you not to criticize how you speak. I think I like the way you break shit down.
But I have to, because I'd rather do it now than have somebody comment on it.
Well, the comments are unstoppable. But Kevin Samuels told a guy. He says this guy was a really wealthy cat, and he came to him for advice. And Kevin Samuels told this guy, who had come to Kevin Samuels saying, my wife and I don't have sex anymore. And he said, well, you haven't had to work in a long time because you're so wealthy. Money makes itself. You're making money in your sleep. He's like, go put a PlayStation in your office if you have no work to do. Leave the house, go to your fucking office and play PlayStation. Yes. Literally 5 to 6 hours. I mean, 8 hours a day. Well, like it's a work day. He's like, get out of the fucking house. Get out from underneath her ass. Yeah. And he reported back to him and said, we're going at it like fucking teenagers now. Exactly. Because it's just, I don't desire to ever be up a woman's ass. I mean, it's real. And that's always a thing. That's always like, why don't you spend more time with me? I'm like, I'm so self-aware that like I'm saving you from the fact that you don't even know. Like I'm saving a woman, right? A woman doesn't even realize she doesn't want to be attached to me by the hip. And I'm saving her from that because she didn't even know that. I have a piece from my book where I was saying, I wrote my book at the time that I was in my last relationship. I'm single again, but I wrote my book at the time I was still in a relationship, and I had some downtime from scheduling and filming, and I was taking a week off for once and just rewatching all the Batman movies at the time that I met that I met my last girlfriend. And I went from the 60s corny Batman TV series all the way up to the Dark Knights. And I said in my book, you take an example like this girl's very attractive. I mean, she's things are great between her and I because it's a new situation. And at the moment, she doesn't mind laying around having sex and watching Batman. That's fine because it's a relatively new situation. But as things develop, we better start doing some exciting shit quick, or the next thing you know, she's going to be saying, the only thing I hate more than you is fucking Batman. And then she's going to start sleeping with a guy that prefers Superman.
That's one way to look at it. The thing with women is they don't know they prefer a Superman until one fucking gives them the time of day. That's gonna bite me in the ass later. But
No, but people need to be saved from themselves. Anybody that really thinks they want to be attached to somebody, I mean, they'll be getting annoyed with the person, still thinking they want to see them every day and not realizing it's just weird. Nobody's meant to be on top of each other. And I don't think you can maintain sexual attraction that way.
I just don't think you can. I think I'm going to be bit in the ass for this one too, but men can never be sexually satisfied by one. I'm not going to say the word.
Oh, yeah, really? You're going there?
I'm going to go there, but that doesn't mean
that makes me want to ask about your situation.
That doesn't mean that they're going to cheat. So let me restate that. Mm-hmm. So a man will almost never be, like, if you're married for 30 years, they are not going to be sexually satisfied by one woman. However, that doesn't mean that they will cheat. So how the fuck do you get a threesome? How do you fix this? You know, it's just something you have to accept. It's like I say, relationships are behaviors, dude. It's not this romance love story. Okay. It doesn't just work on love. You have to make an conscious choice to not behave in those things that are desirable. Like, you're like, I want to fucking get laid by somebody else. Yeah. Well, you can't. You're stuck with Lisa. So
well, yeah. I mean, and there's also a thing with women too about what's a woman's tendency to want to stick with one man for. They're more built for that than we are. Men seem to want to like.
I could argue the opposite. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm willing to let you argue the opposite. I mean, but I'm not saying that women.
They have an advantage when it comes to divorce.
It seems like when women cheat, I mean, it's obviously for a different reason than when a man cheats. I think they touched on this. Well, yeah, I think I think they touched on this on Fresh and Fit a little bit, or Rolo might have brought it up, or Myra might have brought up the fact that, like, if a woman cheats, it's so she could have the best of both worlds, the guy that's safe and the guy that's exciting.
That. I haven't heard that.
Well, because how often can you really? You said that?
I said
so that was you. That's okay. So it was you. That's the reason I'm fucking talking to you, because of that bit right there. That's why I was like, I want to talk to her.
And I couldn't fucking get the words out correctly.
You answered no. You listen to me. Stop criticizing your speech. You did that perfectly. That was you explained it perfectly on the show, and that's what made me want. I thought you did, and that's why I wanted to talk to you, because I was so. I would love to, but the fucking show's an hour and a half long. It's what made me want to talk to you, because you didn't give a typical fucking La La Land answer. Yeah. You were like, you said it right up. It's the guy that's
stability and spontaneity at the same time. So how the fuck do you get both of those, right? So
two men.
Or like you could also see why the women want these, like, what are they called? 5% men, the really rich dudes, because they have the leisure to do spontaneous trips, but also have the income to maintain a level of stability. That's why I think, at least in certain moments, that women go for these rich guys. But I also like to argue with these women, what is that amount of, like, when you say you want a guy that makes $5 million, what does that look like? Because I know you ain't seen his Chase accounts, you know? Like,
right. And what's it look like in lifestyle?
Yeah, and somebody commented on the thing, and I thought it was funny because I purposely said it in a certain way, and they commented on it, and it was like, oh, she said 70K after taxes, so she's looking for 100K. I was like, ooh, he good. But no, my dad, I know, made 80K. Because when I applied for FAFSA, my mother did not work. She has mental illness, but she was a cosmetologist for a little bit, like in and out of the home. But my dad worked, and we lived in the house was expensive, good school, 10% on taxes, like expensive. And he struggled with 80K. And so I know that I not going to be like my mother who didn't bring in any income. So to me, when I picked an answer like 100K or 70K or something, I'm like, okay, assuming that I would make something close to it. I know men say that women marry up, but men, you could raise your standards. You're just not, but there's more benefit going for the one that makes lesser money with less baggage emotionally. The woman that makes more money is typically older and kind of, that's a whole.
It's funny. We're a year, maybe less than a year apart, and usually the only time I talk to a woman that acknowledges any red pill truths is older, and I perceive that as being, I haven't explored the wall thing as much as most red pill cats have, but without commenting on that, I think for a lesser red pill way of putting it, that's a woman who's somewhat finally past the bullshit. I've actually said that to my own mother. My mother has been
fucking Patty.
That is so funny to hear somebody who I don't really know in person say that.
I always ask about the
That's
mom
fucking
thing.
hysterical.
She's gonna comment.
That's so fucking hysterical. And so I remember telling my mom, who has gone through like the most horrific relationships up until now, she's 54 and finally with a good wholesome cat that just takes care of her, and she's fucking thrilled. And but my mother was wild when she was younger, and she even laughed when I told her. I said, Ma, isn't it amazing that it took you till your early 50s to finally be done like seeking excitement and chaos and bullshit? Like it took you till now to be able to appreciate this. I said, this guy who just holds it down for you, you would have never been able to do that in your 30s. Not exciting enough, not dangerous enough, not fucking chaotic enough. But that's why we also have, what's that?
Was he simping?
The guy, see, but at 54, she appreciates simping. She makes him do a little too much around the house, but
sometimes that dynamic works, and that's okay. Like when we were talking on the podcast the other day, men don't want to marry women that have kids, right? Are you reading comments?
I'm sorry, I'm cracking up so bad because I have troll accounts that impersonate people I know.
Yeah.
This is the cat that impersonates my dad, and he's pretending to be my dad, and he goes, don't talk about my wife that way.
We're talking about you, Steve, simping. I'm just kidding. But we're making fun of you. Patty leveled up. She was smart and used it to her advantage.
I haven't had a good laugh like that in the podcast in a minute. Go ahead. I'm sorry, sweetie. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. Like we talked about the single mothers and the dating pool. I'm surprised actually I won't go there.
Go there if you'd like. Hey, we got a song called Thought Mommies. We're ready for cancel culture.
Okay, I'm into it. I've been canceled 4 times and counting. Hey, but only because of things about crime. It's fine. It's my time to shine. Anyways, I'm rhyming.
But you were touching on high value men don't want single mothers.
Right. So when it comes to their dating pool, they can't get those 5% men, and they need to be honest with themselves and realize that they would actually benefit better with the simps. Okay. That's the reality. But women just want everything. I know that I joke about it in this community. Okay, if I was ever asked, how would you rate yourself 1 through 10? I'm like, adjustable 6. Like that's what I've been ingrained to
saw a clip of you saying you're hit without makeup. I was like, this girl's got a personality.
I'm just like, ooh, it's like one time every day of my life, I get told I look like Anna Kendrick and Bella Thorne. I have red hair naturally, and right now it's kind of more on the blonde side. That's why when I was reading the chats and stuff in Fresh and Fit, I'm like, the redhead, oh God, they're tearing me apart. But
Anna Kendrick because of your body and Bella Thorne because of your facial features.
Both facial features, I think Anna Kendrick a lot. We got mousiness to us, it's like a point. I see it. Sometimes I'm scrolling through Instagram. I'm like, hey, is that me? and it's spelled porn.
We both got those noses.
I know, Italian,
Those
whatever.
noses. Yeah. That's an
People,
Italian thing.
somebody on TikTok was like, you have the worst fake nose job ever. I'm like, okay, hold on. I will let you guys tear me apart in the comments, but what? Like, this is
It's a tough life having a pointy nose. Sometimes when I'm kissing a chick or going down on her, am I like just pointing you with my nose like fucking like a
Right.
fucking woodpecker?
I can't even do the cute kissing pictures with this beak, but I'm saying, this a nose job? Like, are you kidding?
Oh my god, I did a feature film and I've got this beautiful love scene. It's the first love scene I ever did on screen, and I lean over and kiss the girl and my nose just like devours her face, and I'm like, fucking love scene's fucked.
Can't do it. I have to go behind their nose. That's what I've learned. Tilt this way.
Yeah, tilt this way. Or then the other thing is I'm wearing a hat the whole movie. I went to kiss the girls and I'd fucking smack them in the fucking head with the bill. Yeah, no. So then the take that's in the movie is I lean in to kiss the girl and I fucking turn my hat sideways like fucking Flavor some shit.
Oh God.
No, but you know what I think about often. I mean, really, what brought me to this style of conversation or finding cats like Rollo Tomasi in their books and everything is I think, a lot of us come from fucked up home situations. I mean, it's more common than not common to come from a fucked up family and to come from fucked up parents. And that's
they
kind
did
of
the best they could with the toolbox they had at the time. Keep going.
right. I mean, that's the whole thing, right? I mean, but the best you could do with the toolbox you got in the arsenal and shit really fucks up some kids, and then they fuck up their kids, then they fuck up their relationships. If your relationship's fucked up, your kids witness that, then their relationships are fucked up because that's what they learned from. So we have to undo our conditioning. And what's a great interest to me is my family legacy. I look at my family, and when we talk about the 50s model, people talk about like, was the 50s model of marriage, the man leads, the woman's the housewife, you raise the kids in a wholesome environment. Is that the way to go? And feminists will say the wildest shit about the 50s. They say in the 50s, it was cool to beat your wife, rape your wife. It was cool to I don't know whether any of that is true or not. All I know is the only people I ever saw in my life, in my big ass, mixed ass family, that had a successful relationship were Patty's parents, my mom's parents, who came straight out of the 40s and lived like it was the 40s until they died. Is that just a coincidence that it was just them that followed the 50s model of the sanctity of marriage? The man leads, the woman follows. And it just so happens they're the only two in this entire big ass family that had a successful marriage. Everyone else just goes based on feeling. There's no structure. There's no, when you talk about the sanctity of marriage, I mean, I'm not exactly the most monogamous cat in the world, but I know marriage is a commitment to more than just how good everybody feels, because everything ain't always going to feel good. Yeah. So that always stuck out to me.
I think, wait, what's your grandpa's name?
Ed and Jean.
Ed and Jean.
Ed and Jean. And Ed and Jean, I'm telling you, for reference, are the only people in my family I ever see have a truly happy and successful marriage until they died.
They passed away?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Happy as fuck. Passed away. Everything was great.
Probably wasn't scrolling on Instagram like in all these thotties photos. It's a different time.
No, I know, but even like my parents and my aunts and uncles and my my other grandparents. I mean, some of my grandparents remarried, so I had 3 sets of grandparents. Everybody else, like, they all still conduct their marriages and their situations like teenagers. Like, everything's just chaos, and if you feel a certain way, you act crazy as fuck. And
I think our society as a whole now has how do I word this? Difficulty controlling emotions. And Robert Greene has said, if like 48 laws of power, the more that you can control, or whoever can control their emotions in the workplace, let's say, has the upper hand. And I think people are so, I hate to throw out the word delusional, but they're not aware that they're lacking stability in their emotions. I mean, this could go, I would say predominantly women, just because I know that we tend to be higher on the neuroticism pendulum, whatever you call it. But, men too, the testosterone dropping and stuff, that's serious too. Testosterone, it's not even like I'm a macho man. I mean, that's a serious hormone that fucking protects you against a lot of things, you know? So I don't know if it's what's in our food. It's just,
But
it's
not to interrupt you,
AI.
though. You're fine. Not to interrupt you, though. The thing about marriage is, I don't know that I'm the most monogamous cat in the world, in that I think marriage is something that even works in this day and age, or would work for me. But I know one thing: if I was able to enter one to pull it off successfully, basically marriage has to operate like a business. I worked with an old man once, and I put this in my book also because I thought this was cool. I worked with an 80-year-old. I have an audiobook, actually, if you just want to listen to it. But,
is it your voice?
Yeah, it's my voice. I narrate my own shit.
Okay, I like your voice.
I auditioned to narrate Rolo's shit and failed the audition, interestingly enough. But at least we did save a hoe.
Rolo, what the hell? We should have my voice.
There you go. You get it there.
Why is a female?
So the funny thing, I worked with this 80-year-old man once at a security job, and we got to talking about relationships, and he said his 80-year-old man knowledge to me, or wisdom to me, was a marriage is a business. He says you refer to your lover as your partner because you're going into business together. Mm-hmm. That's the business of maintaining a home and raising a family. And I never forgot this. He said that's why it shouldn't matter if you reach a point where you're no longer head over heels for each other, because you entered a business. So you don't abandon the business, you tolerate your business partner, and you still get business done. Now, if everybody could operate a marriage like that, a commitment to what needs to be done, not just what feels good, then everybody's kids wouldn't turn out fucked up. Because when the parents are like, I feel some type of way, so I'm going to do some crazy shit. That's how the kids grow up. And honestly, Torrie, when I was even as late as my earlier 20s, but certainly my late teen years, from watching my parents, that's how I was in relationships. When something made me feel some type of way, when something made me feel fucked up, or a girl hurt my feelings, I acted out like I'm the bitch. You know what I mean? Because that's what I saw my father do, my uncles do. It didn't seem like anything that was out of the norm.
But sometimes, like, I'll let you finish. I feel like Kanye. I'm gonna let you finish.
No. That's about it.
It's okay to act out in ways like that.
Not and do wild shit. Not in like chaos.
You're processing. You define chaos. You're not hitting the bitch.
Okay. Okay. So
you know what I mean? Like
take
if you're storming out.
Okay. Take something as simple as, like, when we talk about marriage, we talk about committing to something more than what feels good. Mm-hmm. Okay, because things aren't always going to feel good.
It's not going to feel good. Just get that in your head.
Right. Or at least just not at all times. It's a conscious effort between the two. When it's only effort on one person's side, or even worse, nobody's side, the situation falls apart. So let's take an example as simple as, it's a very common thing for a girl to be in a relationship. She's upset with her man over something that
could... the right side of the window for the whole car ride.
No, a woman is in a relationship. She's upset with her man over something that could be easily resolved, probably through communication or changed behavior. And because she's so upset, she cheats. And then once that's over with, I've come to my senses. I've come down off that emotional high. Now let's try to fix things. So let's, and that's something you could say both people, male, female, whatever, could do. But let's just say that's the kind of shit that doesn't fly.
To be my ass right now. What?
That's what they do. My bad.
Trolling. Kevin's so Chadly. Shut up. Put the Chad in the fucking Becky shit. Grow up.
It's Chad, Becky. Oh, it's Stacy.
I thought it was Becky. I've been called Becky, and I like it. That means.
But but like, you just take an example like that. Like, you're having problems in your relationship, so you cheat, or you're having problems in your relationship.
Like it escalated really fucking quickly.
Things escalate quickly sometimes.
You guys need to. Well, I shouldn't say you guys. Like, when something has upset me in the moment, the way that I have communicated is I'm like, hold up. I just reacted based off of something that triggered something in me. I get very analytical about it. I'm like, well, let me take a step back. So I'm very weird about it. It's probably not normal, but if people took the time to be like, let's sleep on it, I feel like that's a common thing that people like to argue not to do. I think you should sleep on some issues before you decide to get have the conversation, but you definitely need to talk after. And every time you decide not to do that, resentment builds. And that's why so-and-so's cheating, let's say, or whatever. You both are doing things to act out. But why? I'm curious. You don't have to tell the world.
No, go ahead.
What
I'll
are
tell the
your,
world anything.
What are your red flags? Like, I know mine.
Well, I mean, there's certain things that just don't meet my standards, and I keep my standards up. There's there's certain things that I don't tolerate, and if a girl does them, I leave. And sometimes I don't leave and immediately go see another chick or immediately move on to another chick. Sometimes I'll just stay by myself for 6 months if I got to.
Yeah.
Because I had been in situations before where I argued the same point of the things I didn't like, and it never went anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, right, yeah, it never went anywhere, and so I just kind of figure. And people would say it's a defeatist mindset or you don't know how to communicate. But I'm thinking to myself, if there's something a girl's doing that I'm not, really fond of in a relationship, what are the odds that if I sit her down and talk to her about it, it's not going to build resentment and she'll really just understand like, I didn't realize I made him feel that way. Like, what are the odds?
Why? But I could say in the moment that she does something that you don't like, correct her.
I'll like correct it about once.
And then does she get pissed? Like, what's her reaction to that correction, do you think?
It could be pissed or it could be sorry, I'll never do it again. And then they do it again and then I'm out.
Okay, let's say she was pissed and she could leave you, let her. That's like the scarcity mindset, right? It's like, she could leave. No, she could leave if she wants to, but like I'm just usually the one that pulls the trigger. Yeah. You sound like me in terms of certain emotional unavailability.
Oh, I recommend everybody do it. I literally recommend. Wouldn't you think? And I got a video on this called Relationship Politics. Wouldn't you think it makes more sense? And how many people are happy with their partners? How many people are in like flourishing relationships versus the millions of stories they got about all the situations that went wrong? So don't you think it'd be beneficial to most people to have like a 3-strike rule? Literally stick to your guns, man or woman. 3 strikes and you're fucking out. Okay, you fuck me over the same way 3 times. You really can't go wrong.
I mean, it depends on what it is. Like, if they do something like cheat on you, in my opinion, and this can bite me in the ass, I feel like in 20 years, we could work on it because I understand male behavior.
Ooh, we could work on cheating. Why not just give him permission if you feel that way?
I would. So a lot of times I'll say if he wants to cheat and stuff, it's not a deal breaker. I just can't have any inkling that you're doing it, and that's hard for men to not. That I pick up on a lot of things in general, let alone I'm a woman who has all those neurons. So if you even act a little bit off, now you're fucking with my self-esteem. Because isn't that what cheating comes down to? Is we think, I think both sexes kind of, they're like, why wasn't I good enough? Like I don't want to get in that mindset. And I also don't want kids to think that's okay. I'm getting my booty fucked tonight.
Yeah, I'm blocking them. My apologies.
Okay. If that's what how old are they? I have like,
I don't know. You get the analytics thing.
Yeah. I mean, I used to do some PI work too. Fun fact. So I could find out who they are.
Oh, no shit.
We're going to go find them. Yeah.
We're going to go find them and beat them up.
No, I won't beat them up, but I'll just be curious to know what their intention was. They technically could get in trouble for impersonating. I think it's kind of funny, but like I don't give a fuck.
I only put up because it seems like you got a sense of humor about it. I hope that wasn't the one that took it over the edge.
Are more people asking shit that we should be aware of?
Not quite. I'm still waiting for like more topic point conversation.
We could read some of the stuff.
That's my boy Ryan Hazento.
Okay. Men and women need time to cool off or sleep in relationships. But for sorry, I'm not good at reading aloud. I'm reading it though. Yeah.
Heat of the moment shit. That's a thing. That shouldn't be a thing.
Reactivity. I think women need to understand emotions. you could call me a psychopath because I don't have them, but it's honestly helped me a lot in terms.
Right.
I look back on relationships when I was like in high school and just like, before you even kiss and shit, and you're just like, fuck this guy. Let's go drive by his house. We don't drive, but you know what I mean?
Right.
Just crazy shit. And I think to now, and I'm just like, what happened? I don't know why. I would have to look into that more. I need more data on women. Like can they even self-report if they're not, like when you have anagnosia, like lack of insight into stuff, how the fuck are you gonna accurately report anything? Like it's a very complicated thing.
Right.
But a lot of times I see men that say, not a lot of times, I should say men, like, give me a thing that you want to correct a woman on that's kind of mundane and not so like cheating. Don't pick that one. Give me something that women do that you'd be like, oh, if she does it again, oh, I don't know how to bring it up. Like denying sex, let's say. Okay, this is interesting.
See, I mean, if you think that's interesting, we could talk about it. See, now, but the denying sex thing, see, Myron went on about that the other night. I wish I was like big enough to be on Fresh and Fit so I could be right there and give my 2 cents on that. Denying sex, I only in my life have ever been denied sex when I was weak. So it has not been for years. I mean, and there's a classic, what you would call blue pill beta perspective on why women deny you sex. And it's sometimes she's just not in the the misconceptions are sometimes she's just not in the mood. Sometimes she got a headache. And then the worst
headache helps if you fuck.
Right. The worst misconception, the worst beta misconception about why women will deny you sex is women just aren't as sexual as men, which is obviously not true.
I actually think there's usually, I don't want to say like mental illness, but it could be mental, it could be physical. And I would actually bring that up as a guy, be like, listen, it's been a few weeks, you haven't wanted to bang. Why don't we go check out a psychiatrist or something, like make sure everything's okay. People want to argue with me that women will go off the rails, and that could be used as another point to your argument. You know what I'm saying?
Well, then see, I don't. No, but this is the only thing. I've only ever been denied sex for 2 reasons. One was if I was being weak because I turned her off. Yeah. In my adult life.
You probably didn't.
No, I did. In my adult life, being the man that I am now, I've never been denied sex, and it's because. What's that?
Fuck yeah. Killing it.
No, I've never been denied sex, and it's not because I'm a fucking god amongst men or anything. It's just because the only times I've been denied sex, it was for 2 reasons. Back when I didn't understand women, I really wasn't a man yet, and I did things that turned the woman off. So she wasn't feeling sex with me. Then sex became an obligation. So that's the beta misconception of, oh, women just aren't as sexual as men. No, she's turned off by you, motherfucker. And then the other reason, this is what I think more of what Myron was speaking to on Fresh and Fit. The only other reason I've had a woman withhold sex is because she was trying to manipulate me, or she was trying to get something out of me. Maybe she wanted maybe it was commitment. Maybe I wasn't trying. She wanted to run the show, and I wasn't following her program.
Yeah.
So it was, well, then I'm not giving you what you want. So that's the bargaining thing versus you really just turning a woman off. And it's a very, and I think you agree with this.
It's hard to get repulsed though. So you, like when you say turn off, I think like a repulsive behavior, and you're probably internalizing it more than like, it probably wasn't that you were turning her off that much. Like even right now we're communicating. Turn off to me is repulsive behavior. To you, it's like, I turned her off, but the word repulsive is serious when you think about it.
Well, yeah, no, I'm not saying repulsive. I'm just saying, because there's levels to this shit. I mean,
to women are repulsive behavior. That's what I'm saying. It's like there's miscommunication, and it sounds so
being grossly insecure as a man and being weak and acting like a woman when you need to be leading. That's pretty repulsive. See, the thing is, I mean, you can speak to this. You know that. No, of course you can fix it. And then what happens when you're living that very beta lifestyle is you will have sex with your woman. It's just not going to be frequent. It's going to be on special occasions. There's going to be instances where I've only gotten this once in my life and I never want to get this again. There's instances where it's like, all right, fine, fuck it, like let's just get it over with. I never ever want that again, like ever in my life, you know. But when I was a beta, it was like, all right, yeah, fine, fuck it, she's giving in. Like today, I would never want to have sex with a girl if she wasn't like craving me like I'm craving her. It's fucking horrible. But you know, I'm sure you'd agree with this. It's a, you know, you really have to respect, a woman needs to respect a man to submit to him, because being submissive is a, you know, it's a vulnerable thing to open your legs to a cat. You want it to be for a man that you really respect and that you really dig, not some dude that's acting like a bitch.
Yeah, I'm into. I always use this example. It's so funny, but whatever. I don't know if this is PG-13, but I'm into like the BDSM kind of stuff.
Oh, I knew you were gonna say that. I wish I had my whips. They're too far off camera.
But fucking, you know how they say, oh, the dominance, the controller, blah, blah, blah. And there's always an argument, and I live by this. The submissive is actually the one that's in the control, or believes they're in control because they're allowing you to go to the bounds of whatever, you know? Sorry.
That's not a bad assessment. No, go ahead.
So when I think about submission, I try to tell women that too. Like, it's alpha, for lack of a better phrase, of you to give that to them to carry, I guess. I'm losing my train of thought. Like, it's almost like the submissive has all the control by allowing them to lead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does that make sense? Sorry.
Yeah, that's not bad. And that's a turn off. I'm sorry, a turn on for the woman at that point. Yeah, no, it's a turn on. It's a turn on to the woman to let him. You're saying she's being in control of the situation by letting him be in control, by giving him that trust.
Yeah.
And BDSM fixes broken fucking marriages.
It fixes PTSD too, to women that have
oh, I know.
Like, I shouldn't say it like that.
Nah, but I know what you mean though.
Yeah, but even just like choking somebody can help with sex anxiety. I didn't even know I had anxiety with it.
Being choked can help with sex anxiety?
Yes, dude, because it gets you out of your fucking head.
Boy, imagine that. Imagine how that sounds to somebody that's not in the BDSM.
I always say, don't like, never say never. I never had the privilege. It sounds funny to say that, because technically I could have, of having one night stands and stuff. I was always in committed relationships, and I was always social anxiety based, ran my life forever. So I never got to explore different sexual things, I guess, because I was awkward as hell. 1, 2, didn't have one night stands to be like, oh, fuck it, never gonna see them again. And didn't have like the character building skills, like doing the walk of shame, so
right.
Or like just getting up to pee, I would lay there just like, I don't know how to be, like, I have to go pee. Like, I would have the worst anxiety. But now that I've explored BDSM in like not what I'm currently in, but the last 2 relationships I had, it has cured sexual anxiety. I don't know why that took me so long to get there. Forgive me.
It is the weirdest thing. It took me forever. I started getting into BDSM when I understood what subspace was. Then I was like, okay, now I understand its purpose in raising endorphins. And you know what really, really did it for me was, there's a cat in the manosphere who goes by Texas Dom. He's an older guy, and he's got this, talking about, right? And if you've ever heard him,
teaches you how to fucking choke a bitch correctly. I'm kidding.
Well, he don't exactly not, but you know something, he's an incredibly well-spoken guy.
Yeah.
And you're talking about such a like dirty, risque, crazy topic to most, but so it's like moving. No, but literally, it's moving his story. When he gives a seminar and he talks about, my wife and I loved her so much, and we just had this failing situation, this failing marriage, and we were going to get a divorce. And at the end, at like the tail end of what they thought was going to be a horrible divorce that they were both heartbroken over, his wife is like, I've just been exploring myself, and I feel like I'm a submissive. I think I'd really like you to be my dom. And he researched all it. And next thing you know, they're like this BDSM couple, and it completely fixed their marriage.
Literally. I'm serious, people. That's a problem. Like, if you grow up in religious households or something, I have looked at certain kinks and I'm like, that's fucking weird. Now I look at kinks and I'm like, okay, that's fucking weird, but we should try it. You know what I
Right,
mean? Like, even as crazy as peeing on somebody, like, it's so funny to say that. It could be fun. Now that I know what BDSM has done for my sexual anxiety, I hated to have sex. I would avoid it so
Really?
much. Poor men. They probably
Because you
thought it
were
was
avoiding being vulnerable?
yeah, I was comfortable with my body. It had nothing to do with that. There was just something like analytical going on. It was weird. But now if you choke me out, like it's fine.
It's a trouble being comfortable being vulnerable, I'd assume.
I'm still learning. I don't know. It's
It takes the right person that earns the right amount of respect to be vulnerable with.
maybe. Yeah. Probably is that. Maybe that I'm fucked up. Who knows?
Nah, I don't think it's fucked up, and I also think I think it's a great thing for marriage. I think because
yeah.
I mean because you know I don't know to what extent most people's commitment issues or commitment fears are like, but I think most of it would fall in line with thinking, Christ, like I love this person, but like in a sense of like marriage or serious commitment, it's like till the end of time, just this
I know,
one
like
person.
30 years of the same fucking roommate, dude.
Yeah. So
A
if you
long
can
time.
if you can explore all the wildest sex shit possible, I think
Yeah.
it give you a little leg up in maintaining a fucking long-term situation.
Hell yeah. Like,
'cause
talk
what are you
about
supposed
the
to do?
weird shit.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've said this. I probably shouldn't say it on other platforms, but it's fine. Hello, everybody, since we're talking about BDSM. I shit you not.
I want to get my flag for this shit.
What?
I want to get my flag for this shit as like a prop. I'll throw it over my shoulder like flogging Indiana Jones.
Oh, God. Go do it. Get it.
I don't have a hat. Hold on.
Because you'll be the only person that gets to hear it.
Where's my fucking kid at? Okay. I can't find my big flag, but I got like this little mini one.
Tentacle porn is fucking lit.
Never mind. I'm putting the flag away. Tentacle porn?
Hear me out, okay?
With an octopus?
It could be a monster of any sort. You don't know. Like, somebody had brought it up. I was like, what the fuck is that? And then it was just like a variation of hentai, which also brought me there. And I was like, their proportions are like mesmerizing. This is probably fucking with my fucking visuals in my head. I should stop this shit. And I did, but I'm just saying there's weird shit that you probably don't even know about that you could be into and you can't help. Foot fetishes. It can happen just from neurons crossing over in your brain, because foot in your brain is close to erection. Seriously.
I thought you were
I know.
yeah.
But that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, on the dumbest level.
Someone in the comments goes, now we're getting down to business.
I know.
Now we're really getting down to it.
I don't normally talk about sexual stuff just because
Nah, fuck it.
at this point, fuck it. You guys got to pay for more, though, you know?
Super chats for more sexual stuff. She'll go deeper on foot fetishes if you hit the
Yeah.
super chats.
Yeah, I should have held that out for you. Like, come on. Sorry.
The peeing thing's a little much for me, but I remember
Whatever.
the first time I pried at a woman's fetish. She's like, I got these fetishes. And I'm like, tell me. She's
It
like,
was
trust me, you
peeing
don't
on
want to
her?
know. Well, she was like, trust me, you don't want to know. And I'm like, no, I want to know. And she's like, all right, I kind of like it when dudes pee on me. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't want to know. And we are never doing that.
Did you not do it? You could have had the opportunity.
I'll give you one really funny tidbit. I used to sleep with my neighbor who lives under me. We live in a duplex where she's got the downstairs apartment. And my brother, like I got a little brother who's a stoner, and he wouldn't want to leave his room to use the bathroom. So he used to pee out of his window. And we used to say, what if our fucking neighbor goes outside to have a cigarette and now you're peeing on her head? And then I started sleeping with my neighbor, and she's like, I'm really into dudes peeing on me. And I'm like, you know what? Don't worry about that thing with peeing out the window. If you hit her with the pee, she'll make it. She's gonna.
Don't you think? See, this is like my fucking Aquarius astrology woman-esque side. I'm Aquarius. I'm into aliens, parallel universes. What if them thought that, like, you're gonna pee on her head before you had sex with her? Like, was leading up to that moment, you know?
Yeah, I never peed on her because that is disgusting. But
I wonder if there's a girl like her, or I wonder if there's her in another universe that's getting the guy that's the version of you that peed on her.
No, but the funny thing is, if you're in a long-term situation, I recommend exploring like every which kind of fetish you can, because people joke about missionary, like, oh, you can't do missionary forever, or it's vanilla. But something, doing
Not if you're
doggy
in
style.
BDSM.
Yeah, but listen, doing doggy style forever for the whole duration of a relationship is just as bad as doing missionary for the entire duration of a relationship. It becomes equally as boring.
I always say if they put you in doggy style too much, I feel like you're probably ugly.
No, it's never mind. No, that's
No,
definitely,
I'm kidding.
that's definitely not the case.
Well,
But
that's what a lot of guys tell me when they're just trying to get it, they're pumping and dumping or whatever I eat that. They're just trying to fuck a girl and have her leave. They put her in doggy to what's it
well,
called?
yeah, doggy style is the position of
To like
no
humiliate.
of no romance.
Right, but like, what if that's your kink? Like, I'm
Well,
saying,
it's well, yeah, no, it could be your thing,
humiliate
but
them, kind of.
it's the position without eye contact.
Ew, whoever just said that.
What'd they say?
They're like,
My apologies. I keep blocking them as quick as I can.
who cares? It's
Yeah.
whoever said that, you probably aren't having. You should try it. And it,
No, I don't think half the comment section is having sex. I mean, honestly, like, put a 1 in the chat if you're a red pill cat. Those are the only guys fucking. The rest of them are.
I have
not fucking.
incels that reach out to me that are actually.
So what do you
pretty
think?
cool.
I mean, I'm not going to keep you for a hell of a lot longer, but what do
Yeah.
you think about the incel MGTOW thing? I mean, when I came on YouTube, I started doing video game reviews as a hobby, and then I did in the real world. I'm a performer. I do film work, and so when it was just me and my computer, I'm like, fuck it, I need to do something creative. I'd review video games, I'd review movies because I have a talent for narration. And I just thought it was good fun. I'm not really a hardcore stay in his bedroom for days gamer. I rarely ever get to play a video game because I'm so busy. But that draws in the gaming audience, and then it draws in
It's
the
a very
incels.
large audience.
Yeah, and then it draws in the incels who use video games to escape from their pain and their depression and the issues that they're feeling from not being able to attract women. And so I started misusing the term incel, and they gave me a fast education in what an incel really is, because
I just learned what it was.
Right. I noticed that there was a lot of gaming kids that liked my gaming content, and they'd reach out and they'd be like, I see you have a social life. I see you have girls. How can I achieve the same thing? And I'm like, you know what? This would be good insight to the gaming kids, because it seems like they struggle with a lot of shit. So I didn't start getting laid until I was over 18. Before then, I was a guy who, in my teenage years, completely socially inequipped, didn't know anything about women, couldn't get myself laid.
That's the average age. It's
Well,
so interesting that you guys always say after 18. It's like, no, that's normal for men. We have a preconceived notion that they're getting laid earlier.
Well, and that preconceived notion is what makes you think you're a loser, and so your teenage years.
Right, because guys pretend that they have sex in the, like, they're in the locker room talk, they're like, oh, I got to do this, but they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, I know some people lose their virginities earlier, and me personally, because of the way my life turned out, like, it took me a while to learn how to get good enough with women to even get myself laid, and then it took me even longer to learn about sex and how to be good at how to be good at sex. So I could never picture myself fucking at 14. I can't even picture it. I picture it just being like the wackest shit ever. You're talking about like a kid who literally does not know anything. Like, he has no clue what he's doing. I can't
even
picture
if you're 30 and haven't had sex yet, that's scary too.
Equally as awkward. But so the funny thing is,
you're fucking butt ass naked. It's okay, incels.
So the funny thing is, I started, trying to coach the gaming kids a little bit and bring them up to par a little bit. And I mistakenly said that, like, oh, I used to be an incel, because I thought, dude, there was a point where I was
contradicted itself.
Well, there was a point where I was involuntarily celibate. I thought that's what the fuck it meant. There was a point where I could not get myself laid, and I wanted to. If I could be getting laid, I would be, but I wasn't able to.
It's like,
I'm like, that's an incel, right? And then the incel community came for my fucking neck, and they're like, no, we are fucking ugly, and we are undesirable, but we've accepted that and it's our religion, and we know it will never change, so we don't seek self-improvement. We just play the video games. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
I just want them to come out with me. I'm like, let's all go out as a group. Let's get you guys.
Shitless of you.
Because, wait, what?
They'd be scared shitless of you. They'd be like, that's a woman.
It's okay. I come here, no harm, like an alien. Like seriously though, because it's I've been socially awkward my whole life and had to learn how to talk behind the bar, and it's uncomfortable. And I know we could practice with women, I know. And I know it sounds scary, but we're going to get wasted and we're going to have a good time, and then we can play video games. And it'll be great. I want to do like a meetup with them because they've reached out. And I'm like,
Really?
you guys, yeah. It's like, I'm like, they don't hate me. I've learned that. They've accepted me in the incel community thus far, but I'm not that big or well known.
I've noticed that a lot of attractive women who are socially awkward will accept being socially awkward instead of trying to work through that, because at least the benefit they have over a socially awkward young man is they'll still get attention because they look good.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, you know what? That'll suffice.
Well, let's
that'll
fucking
do.
level up these ugly men, because let me tell you right now, the ones that have reached out to me are not fucking ugly, but they could be leveled up, and I can help you with that. And I'm not talking there's catfish ones. I'm not stupid. Again, I could fucking backtrack your pictures and find out who you are for fun from my experience of PI work, but they're not that ugly. I think they have just been conditioned to think that about themselves. And so nothing says you're cool and awesome like going out to the bar with me. I'm just kidding. But like, you know,
well, another big crutch they use is their height, which is something that, I mean, I'll joke about height, but I'm actually, you wouldn't be able to tell by seeing me on the camera, but I'm a midget.
No, you're
it's
not.
It's never stopped me from getting girls. I'm 5'6".
Okay, seriously, I have never looked at height and didn't know height was a thing until getting into like coaching, I guess, or just making videos. Like guys are serious about this height thing. And I'm just like, leave the tall men to these tree women that are trees. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah.
Why?
Well,
and people argue that
most women are going to prefer a taller man, at least a man that's taller than her, if not an extremely tall man, because it's protective. It makes you feel safe.
It's so stupid.
I mean, it's cool for you to be like open-minded about that.
You don't have to compliment me, but like literally, like the amount of men that do not fall in this category of 6 feet tall. What's the percentage? Can somebody Google that? It's a lot. It's majority. Women. I made I know we're going on to, I know it's long. Sorry if you have other.
It's tangent hour, y'all. It's tangent hour.
We going.
No, we're good. I want to be respectful of your time. You're still good?
Yeah, I'm chilling. I got.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. We're good with the vlog. I'm gonna put the vlog away.
That's mine. It's my vlog.
No, I got a bigger one in the trunk. I haven't brought it in the house yet. But no, look, that's a huge incel crutch. The worst thing about the incel mentality is, like, you know how like Rolo and the gang over there are red pill? Yeah. The incel cats have created the black pill. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, I know that has to be something really bad. And sure enough, it's the religion.
Oh, that's racist.
It's the religion of no hope. It's subscribing to the idea of accepting that it's over for you, that you will never mate, that you will never have a woman, that no one will ever find you attractive. And a lot of like you said, a lot of the guys consider themselves ugly, but a lot of them, it's just because they're short. And when I tell the guys I'm 5'6" and I have a 3-girl rotation, it's possible. They're like, no, the fuck it's not, and fuck you. And I'm like, okay, so just to make this point, and then I'll let you go on.
No,
what I didn't realize is
that you're hot.
What I didn't realize is that why red pill. No, I got the flag and everything. So the reason that the red pill guys get so much traction is because their audience are guys that have taken the first step into improving themselves, and they want advice. Yeah. I stuck advice in the faces of guys that are trying to accept that they're ugly and hide behind a TV for the rest of their life. So it wasn't beneficial. Yeah. It wasn't like, hey, that's some food for thought. It was like, fuck you. We know we're ugly. We're going to stay ugly. We're going to stay short. We're fucking.
It's crazy, but it's not crazy just because communities are necessary for life. They say isolation is like one of the number one causes of psychosis. Serious shit. It's like not sleeping for a month.
Ooh, of psychosis.
Yeah, it's a very serious thing. So, although I don't like the idea of a bunch of people reinforcing this false fixed belief,
They want to know how tall you are. 5'4".
I am 5'3" 3/4, but I have the
I was
arm
close.
span of like a 6 foot tall man. So I can't like hold hands with men. So when it comes to height for men, that's what I always say. I'm like an orangutan. So don't even feel bad. Like they're literally so long. They're long. They have to be longer than my legs. I don't know. So long.
So,
What were
all
we
right,
saying?
let's phrase right.
I just want to help them. I want to do a meetup with them.
But here's the kind of fucked up thing about the whole incel thing is like, of course, these guys, if half of them could just get out of their head and get out of their own way and do something that would improve their life, like accomplishing something that shows their own psyche that they're possible of worth, of being worthy in their own eyes, most of them would be okay. But here's the fucked up thing about it.
A lot of them don't want help.
Right,
help
but let's
somebody
also not be unrealistic about the fact that, you know, speak from the point of view of an attractive chick. You wouldn't exactly want Mr. Incel.
Why not?
You're gonna say that you're that open-minded? The guy with zero self-confidence.
Hell yeah, baby. I'm telling you, like everybody tells me this at the bar. Like,
so your boyfriend has zero self-confidence and he's subpar looking.
he would honestly, should I call him right now on my phone?
And say, hey, sweetie, I just want to confirm that you're not good looking for the internet.
No, I want to be like, what if I said I would date an incel? Does that hurt your ego?
Yeah, because he's not an incel.
He's
probably very socially equipped.
No, he's a dick, and it worked. And I don't mean the Chad type dicks. I mean the pretentious motherfuckers. And I was like narcissist. I was like, I'm a narcissist.
What does that mean? What does that mean? It's because he's confident.
I don't know, but yeah, let's come. I wonder how tall he is.
Because he's confident, and then confidence. I'll know by the way he talks.
Yeah, he's actually like what he does for a living. It's like actually, I'll ask him because I forgot. But it involves negotiating, and he's our age. You know, it just sounds like a job where. Hold on.
Hey guys, we are taking super chats, so I don't have to kill myself to make movies on my own dime.
Or making OnlyFans.
Yeah, for feet.
Can you believe that's the woman-dominated industry? How pathetic.
His feet?
No, women. Like the only thing we can make, or we can strive in and level up in out of men or over men, like industry. I can't even talk. Hold on, I'm getting bae.
Only keep him on the phone for like 3 minutes.
Does that? Okay. He's gonna be a dick. Wonder if Hi, quick question. He doesn't even say hi. I have a quick question.
Yeah.
What's my question?
What's your question?
You're on live right now, okay? We're talking about incels and stuff.
I told you never to put me online.
No,
I'm in a bar. I can't hear you very well.
See, he's a dick. Go outside.
What's your question?
I don't know, actually.
Truthfully, I don't even know what you were trying to prove. I was like, would you ever date an incel? You're not dating an incel. You're dating a confident dick who answers the phone without saying hello.
Hold on.
So he's not an incel.
Hold on, Bae's talking, and I can't listen to you because I submit to him. Yeah, okay, I have a question. I'm live on a chat right now. It'll be quick and you can go. But if I dated an incel, would that hurt your feelings? Yeah, like somebody that lacked confidence and was ugly.
Like before we started dating or like during?
This didn't happen. I'm saying hypothetically.
Are you
yeah, like if I dated somebody that was just hideous, like does that affect how you?
It would depend on like the circumstances.
Okay. Can you? Yeah.
It's about that.
But
Okay.
we talked about it later. I'm at a bar with all day.
Yeah. Okay. Bye. Have fun. He's so drunk, but you could tell just the way that he says like hi. I don't know. I think that he says confidence. No.
Yeah, that was my point.
Yeah.
That you're with a confident cat because you wouldn't be with an incel.
Well, yeah, but like I could. Fine. You're right. I'm just saying I want to help them, but if they don't want help, that's okay.
If you were single, I'd put you to the test. I'd put money on it.
Oh, I forgot to ask
him.
him how tall he was.
You don't know how tall he is?
No, like dead ass. Hey Siri, text Andy.
The comment section says he sounds tall.
He does, but I'm pretty sure he's not. I'm trying to think.
And they said he sounds Chadley.
Hey Siri, call Grayson.
Oh, there's guys in the chat that have escaped the black pill. But he still says sympathy is not attraction.
Grayson, you're on live right now. How tall is Andy?
Oh God, I don't know, 5'10".
So he's tall.
He's not like specifically tall, but he's not short.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
These guys in the chat are like, she's probably dating somebody that's over 6 feet. Yeah.
Keep it going. I'm grabbing a soda.
No, that's all I wanted to know.
Yeah. All good.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye.
Yes. I love that. So he said he's not particularly tall. So he's average height. Yeah.
Well, Torrie Groh, we're going to wrap it up in a minute
Yeah.
here. I want to ask a few brief questions,
Okay.
but it's basically just going to, it's basically going to center around this. Like I said, I started this off saying I got you in here because I like the way you handled the questions that Fresh and Fit threw at you. And I figured that you are probably the type that's like a dope older sister type that would like really, if
a doper older sister.
Young man were to come to you with I'm seeing this girl, what do I do to impress her? That you would be the one that doesn't give that like just be yourself and just fucking be really nice and set guys up to fail at being the fucking nice guy and everything. So what advice do you have for younger guys that are struggling to figure all this out?
Ooh.
A younger, maybe not an incel, but a younger guy.
I would have to
a
say
little
don't
brother
focus
type
on
figure.
Women. Like I wouldn't focus on women. I wouldn't focus on anything that involves them other than how to communicate with them on a work basis. Don't even focus on them at a young age. If there's a girl you're talking to and you're considering, going to her university and switching your major or something to kind of fit her, don't do it. If there's anytime that you're thinking of her, just know that she's not thinking of you. And if she is, it's not coming from a loving place at that age. I know that sounds like really mean.
No.
But it is. It's true. Like, do everything for yourself, get that bag, whatever. But when it comes time to practice on social skills, you could develop them later in life, like I did. Yeah, you could argue that I was better looking and I had that advantage. Okay. But I've had to go through some pretty awkward situations, very uncomfortable ones. And I got better at it. Okay. So I'm on here talking about BDSM. I feel like that's success if it's anything else. But focus on yourself, level up, get a haircut. Like, not talking about you. I like your long hair. But do something that has to do with your image. It doesn't have to be working out right away. You can't do everything at once. But haircut, growing out a beard, trimming a beard a different way. That's my advice. But like, short-term things, but also focus on long-term goals. That was like the weirdest ending. Sorry.
No, I like your answer. So again, like, how old is your little brother, by the way?
He is 1 year younger than me, but he has mental illness. So I don't know if.
Okay, well, I'm just saying
Yeah.
figuratively from a cool older sister type perspective. You know, like I said, anytime you're a young guy, anytime you ask an older sister, a homegirl, a aunt, a mom, you get that bullshit advice. So the real down to earth advice, the have an abundance mindset.
Stop living for the vagina. Seriously. Like that was a concept I had to really put myself in to understand men is you buy the cars for the women, you know, it's always for the women. And it sounds so weird to say do it for yourself, but you start to like curve bitches. You know what I mean? It's building confidence and you don't even know it when you stop focusing on them. So she snaps at you weird. Okay, ew, you're ugly. You know, like just like kind of avoid it until you have accomplished self-esteem and then go out there. And
just to add on to that point, if there's any guys that are actually taking notes from this, any young guys that could really benefit from this, I'd say you really have to work on something that's meaningful to you. You have to have a passion. You have to have a purpose. You have to have something that you're working on as a man. I mean, especially if you're over 2021, like it's that time to start getting focused on your goals. And you can't curve women unless you do, because that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
A guy that doesn't have a purpose, a guy that isn't working on his goals has not only no motivation to curve a woman, but curve a woman for what? So you curve a woman to go sit on your ass and play video games. At least when you start working on yourself, you naturally want to curve women. I mean, it took me a long time to get to that point, but I'm finally at that point. A girl calls and I'm like, fuck, but I was just like, I was really
talk her ass off, like, you know?
No, but like, I was working on an edit for 4 hours. And if I stay on it another 5 hours, I'll have a whole episode done. And you really actually have to start to weigh that out.
And before I'm gonna let you finish, but if you can't find your purpose as a man, just pick something. You don't have to really align with it yet, because I didn't find mine until later in life. And I know men struggle with what pays well, what are you passionate about? Go with what pays well. That benefits you guys better.
That's a good answer. If you really don't know, go with what pays well, especially if you're the kind of cat. Especially if you're the kind of cat that really doesn't mind schooling, that does well in an academic setting. I'd also say if you're having trouble finding your passion, this is a good tidbit. I mean,
I know
this
what you're going to say, technology or something. You have a likelihood of doing. Come on.
No, I don't recommend my passions, because if I wanted everybody to be like me, I'd say lift weights, make movies. You know what I mean? Like fucking
Chad.
Filmmaking Chad. No, but if you can walk away from something, it's not your passion. If you can walk away from something and not feel it pulling at you, it's not your passion. You know, and we call, when you get a real passion for filmmaking, when you develop a passion for filmmaking or storytelling, we call that the bug.
Shit when you don't do it. What did you say?
And it's the bug. Like, you got bit by the bug. And creative types, like truly creative types, are miserable if they aren't creating. Miserable.
Yeah, that makes a lot of fucking sense.
And even just obsessing over I would be lying if I told you I wasn't depressed as fuck right now, just trying to figure out like how I'm gonna make a whole season of this show, and I wasn't like getting in my head trying to.
I was depressed, and I hated editing before I learned how to do it. And you could do it like 16 hours a day, every day, and then once you finish a project, it's like you already started another one, and it's like weird when you have nothing. It put me in a depression momentarily for about a couple months. You can see on my podcast, like I haven't done the videos that I do on TikTok on YouTube really that much. So, but you can find your passion along the way, but pick something and get the degree. Honestly, pull out the loan, because for men, it is more likely that you will stick it out and pay off those loans than a woman will with what she picks, because we pick things that really don't pay well. But even if a man did, like, you guys figure it out. Like, you can fit, even if you don't go to college, fuck the college, figure something out and just stick to it.
Right. My boy Dom's in the chat. He says YouTube videos and editing is my passion. So if you take that for an example, Dom, if you could go a whole year without making a YouTube video and you can sleep peacefully, sleep peacefully at night, it's not your passion.
Yeah.
It's not your passion. If you don't lose sleep over it, it's not your passion.
It was
if you could
eating me alive. So
and Torrie, I've seen a lot of it doing the, you've seen the films I've done. If you haven't, I'll send them to you. The films I did with Rollo Tomasi and everything.
Yeah.
I scare guys away. As a director, I scare guys away. I scare cinematographers, director of photography, the camera guys. Guys that aren't in love with this process, that aren't hustlers, I scare them away. They're like, this is not fun. This is hard work. All this dude wants to do is work me. I'm like, well, what did you think we were going to do? Get up and have a cup of tea?
It doesn't work like that.
Because it's not their passion. They're like, oh, it's a good way to make a buck. It's like, yeah, but when you don't have a resume, you're making a couple of bucks. You ain't making a G off me.
Yeah.
We have to work.
Something about a degree is good but for an artist, or I'm going to argue with this one. Or not argue. I agree. But, oh, baby, I wish I went to school for fucking broadcasting or for creative film or something, because how long did it take us to figure out? I don't even know what a USB-C.
I feel you. Listen, you did fine on your. You did do fine on your own, though. I have a broadcasting degree. It didn't do a hell of a lot for me, but
shut up. You know how cinema lighting. I fucked with lighting by myself for months before I even got a video up. For months, hours a day. For some people, it might benefit. However, find an expert in that field and hit them up on LinkedIn. You'd be surprised. A lot of people want a mentor. It gives them purpose. They might do it for you for free, and then boom, resume.
Okay, because it's unique and it's awesome coming from a chick. What is your advice for young women struggling to find dudes or struggling in their relationship that are full of complaints, can't find the right dude, or when I do, he ain't shit?
Lower your standards, stop it with the 6 feet tall, and really get descriptive about what income looks like. And honestly, have you ever seen 2 hot people make a hot baby? No, somebody's ugly.
Or
and
somebody
sometimes
is
it's both of them. Sometimes it's fucking both. I'm dead ass. Find me a baby that is attractive from 2 attractive parents. I'm telling you, it's always one is slightly more attractive. Also, guys, go for the girl that's out of your league. You'd be surprised if you are gonna try, I guess. What about Maya Hawk? Oh, is that the pick me ass bitch that people like to compare me to? I don't know if that's who it is.
I'm not sure.
Oh, so separate person. She's the daughter of Julia. What's Ethan Hawke look like? I can't think of it. Okay, the celebrities.
He's handsome, right? He's Hollywood handsome, right?
Let me see. Because honestly, all these celebrities that you think didn't have plastic surgery, they did. Angelina Jolie had plastic surgery. Fucking Jennifer Aniston had plastic surgery. So I want to see. They're the ones that are getting their teenage kids plastic surgery.
And then I guess final point. What can you level with me on in respect to selection? You're a woman's selecting process. I really feel like women need better advice on this. For all the complaints women have about the guys they chose because they were exciting, because those men made them chase, because those guys knew how to intrigue them. These are the guys they complain about because the top priority was excitement instead of factoring in any level of who is he as a person, who is he as a man, is this situation safe? Right. I mean, that's a huge thing. I mean, excitement is what grabs a woman's interest, and then that's what sustains it. Now you're in a relationship with somebody who wasn't really. Yeah.
Sorry. I think you guys see it as excitement, and what it really is a man marrying a woman, in my opinion. And marrying is just kind of, if she is telling you everything about her, you do the same things, or you have you share the same level of excitement. It's kind of like love bombing, mirroring them. It's just a form of it sounds really dramatic, but like,
should people have, I don't want to say higher standards, I want to say different standards, because high standards gets associated with go for the better looking, go for the bigger tits, go for
I
like
say
the biggest
drop
dick you can find in the
standards.
room. Now, you say drop standards, but I mean different. I think people should keep their standards high in respect to reliability. Is
Yeah.
a reliable situation, instead of just, I mean, look, excitement is great until the well of excitement dries up, and now you got somebody you need to coexist with, and you want to fucking
You
rip each
need
other's
to
heads
know
off.
what you could put up with, though. Like, I used to say I didn't want kids because mental illness ran in my family and I didn't want that to be passed down. So a man with kids, which is not normally something women really like, was seen as a good thing for me. Same goes for men. If the same situation, if they didn't want to pass down genes, they go for the woman that has kids, whatever. I'm just saying, or even mental illness, let's say. Was your mom bipolar? And did you find that on her meds you could handle her really well? You might be a really good candidate for somebody who has bipolar that's untreated and doesn't know. And you might be able, and I know it sounds bad to say help, but you might be able to be a really compatible partner for somebody like that. Like, I dated somebody that had bipolar disorder and they had no idea that they had moods that were shifting. I was like, yo, my mom has bipolar. Are you aware of this? And then once they were medicated, they were like, thank you. Like,
well, they actually took your suggestion instead of taking that as an insult, because people take that insulting.
I didn't use the term bipolar.
Right.
I try not to. I don't know what. I think the way that I say it, there's an approach. You gotta.
Yeah, no, the worst thing about bipolar is sometimes people you care about have it, but it's too insulting for them to hear it because it gets thrown around as an insult. You know, if someone's just acting
up with borderline, and that's it's annoying.
Well, borderline bipolar. The main thing is these become slang terms for when someone's acting like a fucking asshole. Someone's acting like a fucking asshole, and you're like, "What are you, fucking bipolar?"
The trick is to never bring it up when a person is lashing out. You bring it up when they're normal. Not normal, but that's bad. You know, like even me just saying there's a normal, like bring it up when you guys are calm and like everything's cool. Not calm. See, that's me even. Sometimes I mix it up with like BPD. Bipolar is really just periods of like depression at certain points and losing focus, and then periods of mania. I have a lot of friends that are bipolar. If I sense that they're spending money, I cut up their credit cards. Like, there's different people that can be compatible, but you need to know what you would put up with. Some people would be like, oh, she's fucking nuts. But you might be somebody that could handle that, and you're only cutting them off because your friends told you to. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Final question's a hard one. Stay on track with it the best you can. Your response to feminists that will see your shit and say, this girl honestly reads Rollo Tomasi's books, says the kind of shit that she says. But you're female. How are you going to side with the misogynists?
I'll fix it and say, you're promoting hate speech and harm against women and assault against women. Actually, your statistics are wrong. And if it's coming from a woman, maybe we should be more open to the idea that there might be another answer to this problem that you guys have developed. And fuck you, your mom's a hoe.
All right. Sorry, Groh. This is a good time to wrap it up because there's a car alarm going out outside my fucking window. This is why it's nice to broadcast.
You can just say bye. We've had a very long conversation and you're tired. Like, it's cool. You need to be honest.
Nah, that shit pisses me off. Yeah, well, I mean,
no, it's been fun. I think we covered a lot. I think it should be interesting.
And we'll do it again sometime. Where can people find you?
Oh, Instagram and YouTube at Torsha, 2 A's. You could just put it in like the description, right? Do you hear that?
You hear the car alarm?
That's you? You were serious? I thought you were lying.
No, yeah, no, I was serious.
Oh my god!
No, we tell the truth over here. I'm broadcasting from my bedroom instead of a studio, and there's a fucking car alarm going out.
Oh my god, go! You're fine. At Torsha, 2 A's.
That's not my car alarm.
You should probably. Is somebody in help? Needs help?
No, you're good.
Yeah. You
All
guys
right,
can
y'all.
just
Yeah, Torrie
follow
Groh,
me.
punch her in on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. She got a great YouTube setup. She's got a Joe Rogan style podcast setup.
I
which
did.
is really cool.
Thank you, Tony. Not anymore.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is
she has
my
some
shit.
good guests, and you can catch her on the second to latest Fresh and Fit After Hours show. If you head over to the Fresh and Fit podcast, she's kind of the only, she's the only chick in the panel that was worth listening to. She was great.
And
That's
I
why I
was
invited her on.
drunk.
All right, Joe.
Okay.
All right, everybody, be good. Until
Thanks
next
for having
time.
me on. Okay, bye.